organizing with Croatan Earth First for a number of years now. I just moved here about 4 years ago. And one of my first experiences with Chapel Hill was we tried to hold a demonstration and found that we were in violation of a noise ordinance. So we put away our bullhorn, and we started again, and then we were told we were in violation of a noise ordinance. And when we finally asked them if we could see this noise ordinance, it included everything from whistling to singing to chanting, clapping. Really anything that we could do on that sidewalk was illegal. And Carborough has a similar law, where everything is left up to police discretion as to what is disruptive. And this is not accidental, this is intentional. Because depending on what you think laws are for, this makes a lot of sense, right? The purpose of laws is to quash dissent and social control. And so to leave them as vague as possible, right, these confusing laws, they're not confusing because a child wrote them or because they were written hastily, right? They are confusing so as to be pliable. Similarly, the 2x2 sign ordinance has been used against us numerous times here in Chapel Hill. Many of these signs, that sign's illegal. The banner back there, that's illegal. Any banners you may have, that sign over there, that's illegal. So, welcome my fellow criminals. But, so, like I said, selective enforcement is the purpose of laws, right? This isn't just protest laws. This is why drug laws are here too. Judging by many of the faces in the crowd, I'll say that probably very few of us have been to prison for drugs. But probably most of us have used them, right? And there are millions of nonviolent drug users in prison right now. So we know that these are selectively enforced laws. And we know why they're selectively enforced. So to oppose selective law enforcement is to oppose laws. What we are opposing here is the ability for people who happen to have a blue suit and a badge to put guns in our faces, regardless of what it is we do. And while I do think that these laws will change from actions that we take, I'm not so sure that those actions have to do with town council meetings. This coming from someone who's been to a number of town council meetings, because I also think that we should exhaust all possible options, since if there's a friendly way to do this, that's probably better. With that said, I don't have a lot of faith in the town council, a couple exceptions possible, right? They were on the wrong side of the sanitation 2 issue. They were on the wrong side of Greenbridge, and now we're on the wrong side of the Yates. All right, and that's just in my 4 years that I've been politically aware in this town. All right, I have no idea how far back that goes. It sounds like they haven't been much help to the Rogers Road folks either. Carborough is not that much better, unfortunately. Mark Chilton is one of a number of politicians who have tried to take the really free market from us in the past, right? And then has the audacity to try to organize a march from there. So I think we see where politicians go, right? Politicians go where they can. I think these laws will be overturned when we publicly show that they are unenforceable, and their unenforceability brings into question their legitimacy at that point. Because if a law is unenforceable, then the legitimacy of the state is in question. If they cannot enforce the laws, and that is when laws get overturned, right? So the really free market didn't become legal because we asked Mark Chilton. It didn't become legal because we tried to negotiate with the police. It became legal because we kept it and we defended it and we kept showing up through both brazen and sneaky tactics. We legalized the really free market. It is still an illegal gathering every single month. Right? It's not actually legal. There is still no permit for it. We still take that space every single month. And similarly for here, right? We can ask them to let us do things, but the answer will usually be no. And one of my favorite sayings in my last decade of activism has become that it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. But I'm also done asking for forgiveness. Right? Like Ryan said, the initial occupation, we took. We took it, and they thought that enforcing those laws would look really, really bad and be a PR nightmare. Right? MLK Boulevard for the anti-police march, we didn't have a permit to take that entire street, but we did. And clearing us would have been a PR nightmare. And this demonstration, we've taken this space again. And we will get only what we take. And we will keep only what we defend. And anything else will be taken from us. And we see from Mark Stanzel's comments that all the negotiation that we tried to do with the police over this whole time, and all the negotiation that we tried to do with the town council, has not been in good faith bargaining. They've been waiting us out. They've been waiting for their strategic moment to crush us and to marginalize us. Okay? So understanding that when we were talking to them, they weren't listening to us, they were waiting for us. I lived in D.C. for a number of years. And in D.C., if you have 50 or more people, it is legal to take the street and march. The police started trying to harass various protests that did this, and so they started weekly marches, just for the sake of it, to make it very clear and so that they could have their test cases in protests that were not around certain issues, right? They intentionally went and enforced those laws against the police. Understanding how police interact at protests is important as well, right? Police rely on a wide variety of vague laws, but they're also not above making up laws as they go. One of the things that really shocked me when I started protesting regularly with Earth First was that police will come up and tell you that you need a permit somewhere that you don't. They will come up and tell you that you're breaking a noise ordinance that you're not. And it's your responsibility to know that you have the right to be there. And I've heard a lot of people defending the police, but the question is a police officer who knows that he's lying to you about the law, what is he doing? Right? He knows he's not enforcing the law. He knows he's not doing his job as a good cop, except he is doing his job. Because a police officer's job is to enforce social order. And laws may or may not work in that, and when it doesn't, those laws are not relevant. And when those laws happen to be on their side, then those are the laws that are enforced. But understanding that the function of police is not just to enforce laws, it is to enforce social order. And the speaker before me made a wonderful point that banks don't evict people. Cops evict people. Banks don't put guns in people's faces and force them out of their homes. Cops do that. Police wake up every single morning with a choice as to whether or not they will put a gun in someone's face that day, and every single day they make the choice to do that, if that is what happens that day. Right? On some level, capitalism is coercion. And you can be threatened with starvation, and you can be threatened with homelessness, but you also make the choices that you make. I work in a warehouse, right? But if I came in one day and my boss said to me, hey, kick this homeless guy off the stoop and give him a ticket for loitering, I would probably quit my job because that's not what I do. That's not me. That went a bit out of order and I'm done.